In this class, I am going to tell you regarding the Jwara, its Nidana, its Samprapti, the types, the different, the salient features of Jwara, the different types and its clinical signs and symptoms, as well as the treatment aspects. So we may not finish this Jwara in one particular session. We may extend it to one more session, I think so. So anyway, coming to the this particular topic, Jwara, as you know, Jwara, we cannot acquaint it to a single disease. So it will be always, a a feature or a symptom which can be seen in many diseases. That's why this particular chapter is having lot of importance, because when we study Jwara, we will be knowing the basics of the basic Chikitsa sutras for many other diseases also. So in this aspect, understanding Jwara to its the great extent will be always better when we go through the other diseases also, because this will be a base for the treatment of all other diseases. So whenever we talk about jwara or fever, it may be just a symptom which is exhibited maybe because of many other reasons. Okay, so that means the underlying pathology of fever will be different for different fevers. So that's why the cause is always very much important, and how to diagnose it on the based on the symptoms, especially the Ayurvedic principles. By adopting the Ayurvedic principles is very important. So coming to the so specifically, I will be starting this session with the Charaka's version of Jwara, because very detailedly Charaka has been explained the Jwara and its the different manifestations along with the treatment protocols very clearly. And in the later session, I will be adding from Shushruta Acharya as well as Vagbhatacharya, so that what is the difference of opinion I will be highlighting in the next session. So coming to the Jwara, as it has been mentioned that Dehendriya Manastapi Sarva Rogagrajo Bali Jwaraha Pradhano Roganam Ukto Bhagavata Pura Tasya Prani Sapatnasya Dhruvasya Pralayodaya Prakritim cha Pravritim cha Prabhavam Karanani cha. So Jwara is the one which causes the tapa of Deha, Indriya and Manas. Dehe Indriya Manastapi Sarva Rogagrajo Bali. So this is the particular disease wherein in almost every disease you can see Jwara. And that's why it is called as Sarva Rogagrajo Bali. That means it is having its own importance in understanding it. So this can be considered as the Agraja in all the diseases. And he's telling Jwara Pradhano Rogana Mukto Bhagavatapura. So which is the particular diseases I am going to Prasapatnasya Dhruvasya Pralayodaye. So he's telling here from the Pralaya as well as Udaya. That means Prakritimcha, Pravritimcha, Prabhavam, Karananicha. So this is the one particular disease where it will be, in the starting of the life as well as in the end of the life. The Jwara will be always seen. And it's the Prakriti, Pravriti, Prabhava, everything is going to be held in this particular session. So coming to the synonyms of Jwara, Jwaro Vikaro Rogascha Vyadiratanka Evacha Eko Artho Namaparyayer Vividher Abhidhiyate. So the Jwara, Vikara, Roga, Vyadhi and Atanka, because this is, as I told you previously, this particular, the word Jwara is the which will be appearing in many other diseases. So that is why it is having a different name like Jwara, Vikara or any type of diseases, or Roga, once again disease, Vyadhi, Atanka. That means the different combination of the signs and symptoms also, Atanka, or the Vyadhi Samuchaya, all these things will be coming under this particular heading Jwara. And so coming to the Jwara Prakriti, or which is the nature of fever, or how it happens? What are the different factors responsible for the occurrence of Jwara? When we see, it is mentioned that Tasya Prakriti Ruddhishta Doshaha Sharira Manasaha Dehinam Nahi Nirdosham Jwara Samupasevate. That means the three doshas which are there in our body, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and the two Manasika doshas, that is the Rajas and Tamas, are also important for the occurring of the Jwara, because the Jwara will not happen balanced, maybe the manasika dosha as well as the sharirika dosha, when they are in a normal position or in a balanced position, the person will not get, or the human being or any prani in this earth will not get a fever. That's why he is telling tasya prakriti dushtaha doshaha sharira manasaha dehinam nahi nirdosham jwaraha samupasevate. Only when the doshas, manasika or the sharirika doshas are in imbalance, the jwara will occur into the prani. And kshayasamo jwaraha papa mrityushoktaha yamatmakaha. So this is once again the extent of fever or the how the prakriti of the jwara happens here. Coming to the pravritti of jwara, so the how it originates. So the what is the origin of jwara? It is pravrittistu parigrahat. Here parigraha means always the nityahara vihara, or the greed or the attachment towards something or any type of food, or the ahara or vihara, whatever it may be. That means a misconduct, or what you can call a nitya ahara vihara will be causing, or it is the base of occurring of a jwara, or nidane purva muddishta rudrakopasya dharanat, or even as in nidana, as they told, the viprakrishta nidana will be the rudrakopa, or that is like the origin because of the rudrakopa, as we all know the story or how it happens. So the important point here is pravrittistu parigrahat, that is because of the nityahara vihara. Okay. And coming to the Jara Prabhava. So what is it? The specific features here is the Santapaha Sa Aruchitrishna Sangamardo Pradivyata. Jara Prabhavo Janmado Nidanecha Mahatamaha Prakritischa Pravritischa Prabhavascha Darshitaha. So that means here Santapaha Sa Aruchitrishna Sangamardo Pradivyata. So Santapa, or the Tapa, is the one and only the main feature of the Jwara, Santapaha, and so along with that, Sa Aruchi Trishna Sangamardo Hridivyata. Aruchi, Trishna, as well as the body pain, the Sangamarda or the Hridivyata, or something like a discomfort in the heart region. These are the important features of a Jwara, and which occurs Janmado Nidanecha Mahatamaha. That means which occurs in the starting of the Janma, or the as soon as the any prani or the human being is into the earth, there will be fever and nidanecha mahatama. And at the end also, as we know, usually what happens, apart from the some accidental or something like an RTA, so apart from that, almost all the diseases, when the marana comes to the person as a by nature, it will be, or what happens, that will be at the end there will be fever. So that is the truth which has been told in this particular chapter. So Janmado Nidanecha Mahatamaha. So in both the conditions there will be occurrence of Jwara. Prakritischa, Pravritischa, Prabhavascha, Dashitaha. So almost all the things we are going to see how it is happening here. And coming to the Pururupa of Jwara, as we know, Alasyam, Nayane, Sasre, Jrambanam, Gaurav. So whatever the patient, just before getting the fever itself, there will be some type of discomfort in our body, as well as what we can call the especially the nayana, or the eyes, or even the jaramba, or that means almost all the three doshas will be getting afflicted. So depending upon the predominance of doshas, once again the person will be having more of Vataja type of Pururupa, Pittaja type of Pururupa, or even Kafaja type like Alasya, etc. Okay. And Jwalana, Atapa, Vayu, Ambu, Bhakti, Dvesha, Vinigrahe. So especially the person will be feeling like a burning sensation over the body, or even something like a discomfort towards any activities, especially intake of food also, Bhakti Dvesha or the Bhakta Dvesha, even not be having a mind to take food. And avipaka asya vairasya hanischa balavarnayoho. Even whatever the light food we take, that will not get digest, and asya vairasya, there will be some virasata in the mouth. Hanischa balavarnayoho. Even the complexion suddenly gets decreased. And Sheela Vaikritam Alpamcha Jwara Lakshana Magrajam. Sheela Vaikrita here, when the Manasika Bhava also, or sometimes even some altered sense, or what you can call even our behavioral changes we can say, because suddenly we may get something like an anger, or something like a dukkha or discomfort you can see. So these are all the lakshanas of the Pura Rupa of Jwara. And Jwara Pura Rupa, again, there are so many other things mentioned, especially very elaborately in the Nidana Sthana. I'm not going to the details of it. You can just read in the book directly. And coming to the site of the Jwara, as we know, Kevalam Sa Manaskam Sa Jwara Adhishtana Muchyate. The whole body as well as the mind. These are the body and the mind. The Sharira as well as the Manas is the seat of manifestation of Jwara. And Jwara Jwara Pratyatma Linga, wherein Jwara Pratyatmikam Lingam Santapo Dehamanasaha Jwarena Avishita Bhutam Nahi Kinchit Na Tapyate. So here Jwara Pratyatmaka Linga means the salient features of Jwara. That is the Santapa of Deha and Manas, as we have discussed just now. So the Santapa or the Tapa is the salient features. Tapa where? To the Sharira as well as to the Manas. Okay. So Jarena Avashita Bhutam Nahi Kinchit Na Tapet. So that means without this particular Tapa, there is no other creature in this whole earth. Without this particular symptoms, there is no fever. And coming to the types of Jwara. So coming to the types, we know there are 8 types of fever. In the Dvivida Bheda, we get many of the many types of fever. Like in coming to the Dvivida Bheda, Sharira and Manasika Jwara. Then one more Dvivida Bheda, we get Saumya and Agneya. Then Antarvega, Bahirvega. Then Prakrita and Vaikrita Jwara. Then Sadhya, Asadhya Jwara. And in case of Panchavida types, we get the Vishama Jwara, like the Santata, Satata, Anyadushka, Tritiyaka and Chaturtaka Jwara. Then Ashraya Bedana, once again, there are Sapta Dhatvatmakaha, like Rasara, etc. Then in the Karana Bedana, again, that is the Dosha Bedana or the Karana Bedana, we get 8 types of fever once again. So these are the different types of Jwara, that is Sharira, Manasa, Saumya, Agneya, Antarvega, Bahirvega, Prakrita, Vaikrita, Sadhya, Asadhya, and the Vishama Jwara, 5 types of Vishama Jwara, and Ashraya, Ashraye, Bedena. Once again, there are 7 types according to the as per the Dhatus, and the Jwara classified into 8 types on the basis of the different dosha predominance. Okay, so next is the Karana Vedat. So Karana Vedats, we know there are Vata, Pitta, Kapha, Vata, Pittabhya, Vata, Kaphabhyam, Pitta, Kaphabhyam, and also Sannipataja. So these are the 8 types. And coming to the Sharirika and Manasika Lakshanas of Jwara. So Shariro Jayate Purvam Dehe Manasi Manasaha. So how will you understand there is a difference between Sharirika Jwara and Manasika Jwara? So if it is a Sharirika Jwara, maybe because of the Mithya Ahara Vihara or such other reason, so there will be first the Sharira Vyatha will be first, or there will be Tapa in the Sharira. So first there will be affliction towards the Sharira, wherein Manasika Jwara, first there will be affliction in the Manas, later there will be Tapa in the body. So these are the, especially the Vaichitya, Arati, Glani, all the signs and symptoms of the Manastapa. So first there will be, maybe this particular Manasika Jwara can be understood in the form of like, first maybe because of some type of manasika vikara, like maybe a dukkha or some vyatha, etc. So this will be a cause. Simply to give a very small example, the children with the exam tension, how they are getting. That means here the manasika, the stress will be more. So because of that particular the stress in the mind, they will be first having some type of discomfort in the manas, later there will be fever. So similarly, here we can understand how it will be. Whenever it is a sharirika, because of the mityahara vihara, then the sharirika, first there will be tapa in the uh, body, and later there will be the manasika vyata will be there. So if you come to this particular indriyanam cha vaikrutyam jnayam santapa lakshanam, even then there is a little bit discomfort or in sensing the objects, then it is understood that it is the features of the santapa to the indriyas. And coming to the other type, Vata Pittatmakah Sheetam Ushnam, Vata Sheetam Ushnam, Vata Kaphatmakah, Ichati Ubayam Metattu, Jwaro Vyamishra Lakshanam. So whenever, because whenever we tell Vata Pittatmakah means the combination of Jwara, how it affects. When the combination of Jwara in the form of Vata and Pitta, always the person will be having desires towards the Shita. And if the combination of Jwara is because of the predominance of Vata and Kapha, there will be Ushnakamitva type of desire will be there from the patient. Wherein, why this is because this is because of the Yoga Vaha Param Vayuhu Samyogad Ubayarthakrit. That means here what happens, the Vayu is having its a very salient feature like the Yoga Vahi. So when it is with the Pitta, it will act like the Tejas, or it will be, so it will be having the desires towards the Shita Icha. And when it is with the Kapha, it will act like a Soma Samshrayat. So it will be Shitakrit. So it will be like, in that particular nature, it will be having towards the Ushna desire will be there, because Vata Pittatmakaha Shitam and Ushnam Vata Kaphatmakaha. When the combination of all this together, maybe the Vata Pitta Kapha together, then the combinations of the features also will be seen. And actually, I'm getting some obstruction here. 1 minute. Am I audible?
Yeah, doctor.
What just I wanted one help. Actually, this particular, to continue with my presentations. So as I told, whenever there is a combination of Vata and Pitta, then because of the, as Vata is having the its Yogavahi guna, so there will be a desire for something like a Shita, wherein Vata Kapha combination, there will be desire for something like Ushna. And coming to the other types of fever like Antardahu Antarvega and Bahirvega Jwara. So here, in case of Antardaha Jwara, Antarvega Jwara, so there will be more of Antardaha, or the what you can call the burning sensation, Adhika Trishna, Pralapa, Swasana, Brahma. These are all the symptoms which is showing that the intensity of fever will be more, whereas the prognosis also is very bad. Whereas in case of Bahirvega Jwara, here the Ushnata or the Tapa is more, whereas but it is something like a Sukha Sadhya. Santapo Abhiriko Bahya Trishnadinam Chamardo. So what happens here? There will be very much high temperature in the over the body, the temperature, wherein the but it will be having a only because it is an external fever, so it is having its Sukha Sadhyata when coming to the prognosis. And coming to the another important topic is Prakrita Jwara and Vaikrita Jwara. So this Prakrita Jwara and Vaikrita Jwara, how will you understand means? So whenever we know that, so Prakritaha Sukhasadhyastu Vasanta Sharadudbhavaha. So there are why it is this particular Prakrita Jwara is means depending upon the prognosis of the fever. Like whenever we tell that is a Prakrita Jwara, examples like the Vasanta Masa, the Kapha Jwara, as well as in case of Sharad Rutu, the Pitta, the Jwara will be Prakrita. How means in case of Pitta Jwara in the Sharad Rutu, usually what happens, there will be this is in the middle of the Visarga Kala, wherein the Pitta is having its as per the Rutu, there will be Prakopa of the Pitta will be there, but their Kapha will be as a Anubala. So, and what happens here, as we know, the first line of treatment is the Langhana. So here the Langhana is indicated as here the Pitta as well as Kapha is there, where Kapha is the Anubala. So in this particular condition, the particular type of, am I audible?
Yeah, doctor.
Yeah. So here what happens, whenever we are going to adopt the first line of treatment as Langhana, then that is most useful in this particular type of Jwara. Similarly, when the Vasanta Rutu, the Kapha Prakopa will be there, wherever the Surya Tapa is there, here the Pitta as well as Vata will be in its Madhyama Avastha. So once again, because of the predominance of Kapha, whatever the treatment as the first line of treatment of the Langhana is advisable in this particular condition also. That's why he's telling Prakritaha Sukhasadhyastu Vasanta Sharadudbhavaha Ushna Mushnena Samruddham Pittam Sharadi Kupyati. That is by nature, Pitta will be having its Kopa in the Sharadrutu. Chitaha Shite Kafaschaivam Vasante Samudiryati. So Kapha will be having its Chaya in the it's Prakopa in the Vasanta Rutu, and Varshasu Amla Vipakabir Aushadibir Aushadibistata and Sanjitam Pitta Mudriktam Sharadi Aditya Tejasaha Jwaram Sanchayana Tyashu Chasya Cha Anubalaha. That's what I told. Whenever the Sharad, there will be Anubala as Kapha, so Langhana is indicated directly here. And similarly, Hemante Surya Santaptaha Sa Vasante Prakupyati. In case of Hemanta, the whatever the Chitta Kapha is there, which will be having its Prakopa in the Vasanta Rutu, whereas Vasante Shleshmanaha Tasma Jaraha Sampajayate Adana Madhya Tasyapi Vata Pittam Bhavedanu. So here Vata Pitta will be like a Anu Bala for it, and this is Adana Madhya, and the Kapha predominance is there. So directly the Langhana Chikitsa will be adopted here. That's why in these two conditions, we can tell that, so especially the Sharad Rutu, Pittaja Jwara, as well as Vasanta Rutu, the Kaphaja Jwara will be considered as the Prakrita Jwara. So this is what the meaning I told you already. And in case of Prakrita Jwara, this one more important thing is we have to see the strength of the doshas in the beginning, in the middle, and the end of the this Vasanta as well as the Sharad Rutus. And then accordingly we have to do the treatment here. And coming to the Vaikrita Jwara, Kala Prakritim Uddishya Nirdishtaha Prakrito Jwaraha Prayena Anilajo Dukkaha Kaleshu Anyeshu Vaikritaha. So here what happens, usually we have seen the Sharadudbhava, Pittaja Jwara as well as Vasanta, the Kapha Jwara is, both are in the same, Prakopa Avastha, they got Jwara and it is easily curable. But Vataja Jwara in the Varsha Rutu is incurable because once again, the same reason here the patient's bala is very less, as well as vata by nature, it is because of the highest predominance of vata, as well as because of the amla, etc. In the particular, the Varsha Rutu, there will be the Amla Vipaka will be there in the Bhumi. So because of all these things, there will be all the three doshas will be in a Prakopavasa, wherein Vata will be predominantly in its Prakopavasa. So here the initial line of treatment, because as we know, why there is a Langana treatment we will be adopting, because of the specific rasad or the rasadhatu, because this particular jwara where the rasadhatu adhisthana is there. So because of that particular reason, we always go for a Langana. So this particular Langana will not be hold good in this particular season because of the Vata Prakopa, because it will further aggravate the Vata. So here Vatika Jwara, irrespective of its season, its occurrence is Vaikruta, as well as Paitika Jwara occurring in any other season. Once again, it is not possible to, or it is not good. We call it as a Vaikruta Jwara, as well as the Kaphaja Jwara occurring in other than the Vasanta Rutu is also having its Vaikruta Jwara. And coming to the Jwara Sadhya Sadhyata, so Balavatsu Alpha Dosheshu Jwaraha Sadhyo Anupadravaha. The Bala, patient's Bala is good and it is Alpha Dosha, then the Jwara is always considered without any complications, then it is called as a Sadhya Jwara. And Hetubir Bahubir Jato Balibir Bahubir Lakshanaha Jwaraha Pranantakrutyascha Shigram Indriya Nashanaha Saptahadva Dashahadva Dwadashahat Tatevacha. So he's telling here, whenever the Jwara is having the Bahubir Jato, that means having strong etiological factors, and because of having its many signs and symptoms, Balibir Bahubir Lakshanaha, so having more and more dosha visheshan as well as the aggravated symptoms, the higher clinical features are there, that definitely it is going to do the pranahara, prananta krudyascha shigram indriya nashanaha. So it is going to destroy the sense organs or even the body as well as. And if everything is good, either by 7 days or by the Dashahadva 10 days or by 12 days, the Jwara will be come to its, it will be getting relieved, because always when we talk about the Jwara or the fever, it will be always like a self-limiting. So if within that, if the body's dhatus are getting purified, then we call it, then the Jwara will be getting relieved by either 7th day or in the 10th day or in the 12th day. And coming to the next step of Sadhya Sadhyata, he's telling there are some complications like the Sapralapa, Brahma, Shwasana, or even Tishno, Hanya, Jwaro, Naram, Jwaraha, Kshinasya, Shunasya, Gambiro, Dhairya Ratrikaha, Asadhyo, Balavan, Yascha, Kesha Semantakar Jwaraha. Some of the Arishta Lakshanas are mentioning here, because as I told, the Jwara may not be always very simple, because it is the Vyadhi Sankara, or it is called as the Rogagraja. So that means it may be a complication, or it may be there may be an underlying pathology of some other disease. So always it may be towards the end of the life, sometimes when almost all the signs and symptoms together, or many one person itself having many diseases, this will be like an end. It can appear as a Jwara. In such conditions, when you see all these things like a Pralapa, Brahma, the Shwasa Krichruta will be there, and the body will be like having Shinata or even Shunasya, that means whole body swelling like Anasarka, and it may be Dhairya Ratrika, maybe very chronic, maybe since long time. In such conditions, it will be, and even Balavan Yascha, Kesha Semantakrit Jwaraha, even sometimes the patient, we see that he is having Balavan, but Kesha Semantakrit, he is telling the part of the scalp becomes visible through the hair. In such condition, we have to consider it as the Asadhya Lakshana. And Dosha Vibhatte Nashte Agno Sarva Sampurna Lakshanaha Sanipata Jwaro Asadhyaha Krichra Sadhyatvato. So this particular quotation tells regarding the Sanipata Jwara when it becomes Asadhya. And always we know Sanipata Jwara is very much, it is Krichra Sadhya, and but still with the these symptoms like dosha vibhadde, when there is a total doshas are obstructed, okay, or it is getting, and naste agno, totally there is loss of appetite, or the patient is not at all having any agni, and sarva sampurna lakshana, there is a there is a presentation of the clinical features with all the clinical features, then it is said to be having asadhya. And vataja jwara, all those things I'm not going to, because the treatment part is very important. So if I go very deeply in this particular part, I may not finish it in 2 sessions also. So only few important things I will explain you here. And as we know, the all the vatakara ahara viharas will be leading to the vata prakopa, that will be directly entering to the amashya. So he's telling yasa yada prakopitah pravishyam amashayam ushmana saha mishribhutasya adya ahara parinama datum rasanam अन्वेद्य रसस्वेदवाहिनी श्रोतांसि पिधाय अग्निमुपहत्य पक्तिस्थानाद् ऊष्मणं बहिर्निरस्य केवलं शरीरम् अनुप्रद्यते. Here the prakopita vata enters into the amashya, and along with that it will spread to the this particular the prakopita vata. This will spread into the rasadhatu and into the Svedovaha dhatus. This will cause obstruction there. So pidaya, he is telling rasa svedavahini shrotamsi pidaya. So what happens because of this obstruction? And at the same time, what happens? Whatever the agni is there in the jatara, that will also to be displaced from its place. That means if you consider the place as the grahani, from the grahani, it will be the agni will be displaced towards the exterior of the body, and there will be obstruction because of this particular indigested or aparipakva ahara dhatu. Okay, so there will be agni mupahatya bhakti-sthanad ushmanam bahirnirasya. That's what I told. So there are two things happens here. Whatever the prakopita vata may be, or pitta or kapha, that will enter into the rasadhatu along with the svedo shrotas, and it will cause the obstruction. And at the same time, whatever the pakti or the agni is there in the pakti sthana, that will be taken to the displaced to the exterior of the body, wherein it causes the the sharira tapa. Okay, so that is how it happens. This is the vataja jwara, and similarly the vataja lakshanas also here, and similarly the pittaja jwara, where once again the same type of pathology or the samprapti, rasanam anvetya rasa svedavahini shrotamsi pidaya. So dravatvad agni mupahatya. So here what happens? One thing is here the pitta is also in the same drava form. So whenever the there is an obstruction with the ahara rasa, and there will be also the, because of the dushita pitta or the prakopita pitta, the quantitative increase of pitta will be there here. So both of these together will cause the agni upahadnya, or the agni mandya will be there, or it will be pakti-sthanat ushmanam bahirnirasya. So from the pakti-sthana, the agni will be taken out to the exterior of the body, causing the fever or the jwara. And similarly the kaphaja symptoms also, it is similar to that of vata. I don't want to explain here. And the kaphaja lakshanas. Coming to the next important types of fever, that is the vishama jwara, where there are 5 types of vishama jwara has been explained. This is actually a different type of fever which is very difficult to cure if you see the sadhya sadhyata. And especially the first type, that is the santata. As we know, there are 5 types: santata, satata, anyadushka, tritiyaka, chaturtaka. So the first type will be the santata jwara. Santata means that is a continuous. Santata means there will be continuous fever. So this particular fever has been explained very elaborately in the classics, wherein Shrotobir Visruta Dosha Guravo Rasavahibihi Sarvadehanugaha Stabda Jwaram Kurvanti Santatam Dashaham Dwadashaham Va Saptaham Va Sudusahaha Sashigram Shikrakaritvat Prashamam Vyati Hantiva. So he's telling all the it will enter the jwara or the prakopita doshas enter into the shrotas, where especially the rasavahi shrotas, and it will spread all over the body. Sarva dehanugaha stabda, where it will become stagnant in the shrotas, and it will be continuously, it will be causing the fever because of the obstruction. So either by 10 days or by 12 days or by 7 days, it should get reduced, or it is going to kill the person. So why this 10 or the 7, or usually by 7 days the vata, by 10 days the pitta, and the 12 days the kapha is having its own predominance here. So why this particular Santata Jwara is called as Nishpratyanika, or it is very difficult to cure, or it is going to kill the person. What is the reason behind it? He is very clearly mentioning that Kala dosha prakritivir doshas tulyohi santatam. So here the Kala, the dosha, and the prakriti and the dosha. So these are the important factors which is making this particular. So because this Kala, dosha, prakriti, and dosha. So all these things are in a equal manner. They are in its highest peak, so that no one is counteractable here. So everything is like in its peak, in its vitiation. So because of that reason, it is called as Nishpratyanikaha kurute tasmadnyeha so dusaha. So only thing is, either the patient is going to die, or if at all it is like the very strong his the what you can call the previous deeds, etc. In such conditions, it is good only the patient will be having he will be relieved from the jwara here. So the dosha involved, the manifestation of santata is the kala, the factors are dosha as well as the prakriti, and there is no having no opponent here. That's what I told you, because everything is in its peak. So that's why it is known as it is unbearable. Or additionally, the other the dhatus are also involved, like all the 7 dhatus, the urine as well as the stool, or the mutra and purusha are also involved here. So all the 12 components are equally having its vitiation here. That's why santata is very difficult to cure. And that's why he's telling Sashuddhya va apyashuddhya va prasadina masyeshatah saptahadishu kaleshu prashamam yati handiva. So that's what I already told. If at all the rasadi dhatus becomes clear or shuddhi, maybe because of the the patient's bala, or because of some type of intervention here, or because of the ahara vihara, if the rasadi dhatus gets shuddhi by either 7 days or 10 days or 12 days, the patient is going to get cure. Or what happens, because of some of the factors out of 12 components, because of the some of the components, the reduction of the fever will be there. But what happens at the same time, the remaining doshas will be there in as a leena in the dhatu itself. So that particular leena doshas, once again it will appear next, or it will be there in the dhatus, which may once again come, but it will be having a lesser vitiation or the lesser signs and symptoms. That's why he's telling Visargaha dvadasho krutva divase avyakta lakshanam. So he will be, even though there is a feeling like relief from the fever because of the a few of the dosha, or the prakriti, whatever it may be, because of the remnant doshas in the dhatus in a leaner form. So what happens, there will be avyakta lakshanas. Once again, there is a some of the upakrama is needed to relieve from the total of the jwara. And coming to the satata jwara, which occurs, the previous jwara what we have seen was the santata jwara, where it was continuous fever. Okay, and here it is satata jwara, which comes in twice in 24 hours. So it is especially to the rakta dhatvashraya, whereas the santata jwara was the rasa dhatvashraya. So Raktadhatvashrayah prayo doshaha satatam jwaram sa pratyanikah kurute kala vriddhi kshayatmakam ahoratre satatako do kalavanavartate. So here the aggravated doshas generally lodges in the Raktadhatu and manifests fever twice in 24 hours depending upon the time of dosha aggravation or the subsidence. So what happens here, something it is called as the sapratyanika, whereas santata we have seen that is the Nishpratyanika. Here, because of the Kala or the dosha dusha, there will be something like a counterable things are there. That's why it is called as the sapratyanika jvara. And anyadushka, wherein kala prakriti doshanam prapir anyatamo balavaha. So here what happens? The vishesha doshas produce anyadushka type of jvara with the support of any other factors like the kala, prakriti, or the dusha. So all these, so this particular jvara will be taking the bala from the factors like all these kala or prakriti, etc. So whenever it is in favorable condition, it takes the bala of that particular components and it will be producing the jvara. So that's why only this will happen. The anyadushka jvara will be having its this will be once in 24 hours. And coming to the other Tritiyaka and Chaturtaka jvara, so this particular Tritiyaka jvara dosho asti majjagaha. So Tritiyaka jvara will be in the asti and Chaturtaka jvara will be in the majja. So that is the its salient feature, whereas the Tritiyaka is dosho asti majjagaha. So Tritiyaka in the asti as well as the Chaturtaka fever or the jvara is in the majja. And whenever the doshas afflict the asti dhatu and the majja dhatu, they cause the Tritiyaka as well as the Chaturtaka jvara. And there are some other opinion that anyadushka jvara is caused by the affliction of rakta dhatu, and Tritiyaka jvara manifests where the doshas are afflict the mamsa dhatu, and especially the dosha lodging in the channels of circulation of medo and medo dhatu causes the Chaturtaka jvara. So even anyadushka jvara occurs every day, while Tritiyaka jvara occurs after a gap of 1 day and Chaturtaka occurs after the gap of 2 days. So this I just wanted to show in a very easy manner. So anyadushka jvara, how it occurs, that is jvara occurs once in a day, wherein Tritiyaka jvara, it happens, there is a gap in between. So first day there will be fever, second day no fever, and again in the next day there will be fever. Whereas in case of Chaturtaka jvara, first day there is fever, there is a gap of 2 days, and later it will come in middle, and once again there are 2 days gap like that. So this is because of due to the dosha gati, how it happens. Okay. And coming to the Dhatugata jvara, the next type of jvara. So this is once again because of the Rutu ahoratra doshana manasascha balabalat kalartha kalam arthavashaschaiva jvarastham prapadyate. So the jvara occurs according to the strength or weakness of the weakness factors like dosha, season, day, night, mental status, and the artha, that is the previous deeds of the life, the jvara occurs. And these are the different types of manifestations. I am not going to the details of the the different signs and symptoms. And moving on to the other types, also there is mentioning of Dandvaja jvara. You can read it directly from the text. And Sannipataja jvara, once again the prognosis wise, which is very bad, and because of the combination of 3 doshas. Here one thing is, this is because of the Taratama Beda. So here, because as we know, there is involvement of all the 3 doshas here. So one is, but there is a, Taratama Beda. For example, if Vata is in a Vriddhavastha, Pitta is in Vriddha Tara, and Kapha may be in a Vriddha Tama. So in this particular combination, there are the 13 types of Sannipata jvara has been mentioned, or it is originated. So as I told you, Vriddha, Vriddha Tara, and Vriddha Tama. Vriddha is the lowest, Vriddha Tara is the next step, and Vriddha Tama is the highest. So for example, if in a particular combination, Vata may be the Vriddha, that means the lowest, and Pitta may be Vriddha Tara, and Kapha may be Vriddha Tama. So likewise, there are combination of 13 types of Sannipata jvara. So this is the one where Samasannipata jvara, the Lakshanas, specifically sometimes in an exam, they will be asking what are the different kinds of, or the different Sannipata jvara Lakshanas. So that's why just I have mentioned this, like the Kshane Dahaha, Kshane Sheetam, Asti Sandhi, Shirorujaha. So this whole quotation tells you the, the salient features of Samasannipata Jwara, where it is said to be asadhya to cure. So once, because these are all the things important, because when we see particular kind of the different kinds of diseases, how the different signs and symptoms will be identified, and how we have to understand that this particular jwara is asadhya from our side. And coming to the other important, the last type, that is the agantuja jwara, wherein agantur ashtamo yastu sa nirdishta chaturvidaha. So especially the abhighataja, abhishangaja, abhicharaja, and abhishapaja. So abhighataja, so wherein the any type of accidental type of the injuries, etc., will be the causing, wherein first there will be vata dushti, and later there will be the first there will be vata prakopa, later there will be rakta pradoshaja, or the rakta pradoshana will be there. Because of that, there will be sharirika jwara will be appreciated. So shastra loshta, so whatever the different types of injuries they have mentioned here. So first there will be an external injury to our body. So because of that will be vata prakopa will be there. Later there will be rakta doshana, and the other doshas will be slowly will be getting afflicted. So this is the abhighataja jwara. And next is the abhishangaja jwara, wherein abhishangaja, it is always the different types of bhuta abhishangat is telling. Okay. And it is once again the doshas are punar vata pitta abhyam. So because of this particular abhishangaja jwara, again there will be vata pitta kapha will be getting afflicted. Okay. So kama shoka bhaya krodher abhishaktasya yo jwaraha. So abhishangajo jnayo yascha bhuta abhishangajaha. So here bhuta abhishanga means any type of infectious disorders we can consider. And kama shoka bhaya krodha, etc. So all these will be afflicting the vata or pitta or kapha, and then it will be once again causing the fever. So here specific dosha involvement they have mentioned. Kama shoka bhayat vayu, because of kama shoka bhaya, vata will be aggravated. Krodhat pittam, and trayo malaha. So krodha pitta dosha will be aggravated, whereas in case of bhutabhishanga or any infectious origin, all the three doshas will be getting afflicted. And in a case of abhishangaja jwara, what are the, it may be because of the vishavraksha anila sparsha, or it may be exposure to the different types of poisonous acts, maybe because of vishavraksha or any such acts it may be causing. And the abhicharaja and abhishapaja jwara, this is abhichara abhishapajo tu sannipate anubhadyate. So once again, this abhicharaja means the evil or the tantric rituals, as well as the abhishapa means it is by the curse of the saints or the elders or something like a spiritual perfection. So both these things will be the signs and symptoms of the jwara will be equal to that of the sannipataja jwara. So it is asadhya in nature. So coming to the abhicharaja, once again, this will be understood by either by observation, or by somebody will be having that idea might have happened, or so by that only we can understand that how it may, this particular jwara may be because of abhichara or abhishanga, or by hearing from others about it, or by inference, or by anumana, this may happen to me like that. And by all these things, the abhicharaja or abhishangaja type of jwara can be happened. And the kamaja jwara or the shokaja jwara, etc., the different signs and symptoms has been explained, so that you can go through the book. And coming to the very, very important part of this jwara, that is the jwara samanya samprapti. So this is very important to understand how the the general signs and or the pathology of the jwara happens. So this quotation, as the students, you can by heart it and understand it properly. Samsrishtaha sannipatitaha pratagva kupitamalaha rasakyam dhatu manvepya paktim sthanat nirasyacha svena tenoshmana chaiva krutva dehoshmano balam shrotamsi rudva sampraptaha kevalam dehamurvana. So why I have giving importance to this particular quotation is because it's very clearly it is mentioning that the doshas either individually or in the combination of two or in the combination of two. Samsrishtaha, Sannipatitaha, Pratagva Kupitamalaha. The Kupita doshas individually or in combinations of two or three will be entering into the Rasadhatu. Okay. Will be entering into the Rasadhatu and causing Paktim Sthana Nirasyecha. That means that it will be taking away from the Pakti or the Agni from the Pakti Sthana, that is Grahani, and it will be giving going to the exterior of the body. So here two things are there. Svena tenoshmana chaiva krutva dehoshmano balam shrotamsi rudva sampataha kevalam deham mulbana. So this I wanted to show by this particular. Am I audible?
Yeah, doctor.
Yeah. So here what happens, the doshas which are got prakopita, it will be entering into the rasavaha shrotas, circulates into the dhatus, that is one thing, and it will be causing the shrotoroda. And there will be another thing happens at the same time. So this particular doshas which entered into the amashaya, which will be displacing the Jataragni from its own site, that is from the Grahani, this particular Jataragni will be displaced to the exterior of the body. So what happens, as the doshas, Prakopita doshas enters into the Rasavaha Shrotas, there will be Shrotoroda leading to the dosha Ushma. So that is called as the Svenoshma, whereas the Jataragni Ushma, which is displaced to the exterior of the body, is called as the Tenoshma. So both these together increase the Dehoshma, causing the Jwara. So that's what he is telling. Rasakyam Dhatu Manvetya, that is one point, one particular aspect of the Samprapti, and another portion is the Paktim Sthanas Nirasyechu. So this Rasakyam Dhatu Manvetya, so wherever the Rasadi Dhatus will be getting afflicted because of the Prakopita doshas, and there will be obstruction to the Shrotas, causing the Svena and because of the Pakti which has been taken away from the Jataragni, or the and it will be entering into the exterior of the body, which will be causing the Tenoshma. So all these things together, there will be Shrotamsi Rudva Sampraptaha Kevalam Dehamulbana. So which will be causing the complete or the tapa in the body. Santapa Madikam Dehe. So total body will become tapa. Janayante Narasada Bhavati Atyushna Sarvango Jvarisatena Cha Uchate. So this is how the Jwara is getting originated. So this is the Samanya Samprapti of the Jwara. And why there is a Sveda Avaroda in Jwara, that is Srotasam Sanirudhatvat Svedam na Adigachati Swasthanat Prachute Chagno Prayastha Karanajware. So what it is telling is here, because of the Shrotas, obstruction to the Shrotas because of the Vishesha doshas, so there will be obstruction in the Rasadi, means Rasa as well as the Svedavahi Shrotas, and which will be causing the Avaroda of Sveda in case of Jwara. And there are other Jwara like Amaja Jwara, Pachamana Jwara, and so this is very once again important, because when we have to do the treatment, in which aspect or the which avastha we have to give the different types of treatment, whether it is Langana, whether it is Pachana, whether it is Dipana Pachana, or it may be kind of treatment. For this purpose, this particular, the signs and symptoms of Amaja Jwara is very much important. Where is all the things like the Aruchi, Avipaka, Guru Udara, or Hridayasya, Avishuddhasya, some discomfort in the Hrit, as well as Tandra, Alasya, Jwaro, Avisargi, Balavan, Doshanam, Apravartanam. So here what happens? The dosha is in the Apakwa stage. Okay, so there is no, and there will be, Lala Praseka, Hrullasa, Kshutnasha, Virasa, Mukha, Stabda, Gurutva, Chagatranam, Bahumutrata, Na Vit, Jirna, Na Glani, Glanir, Jwarasya Amasya Lakshanam. So what happens here? There is no proper elimination of Vata, Mutra, Purisha, etc. So totally there will be Jadatva in our body. there is like avipaka, avisarga, all those things can be seen in case of jwarasya whenever the jwara is in a amavastha. So, but jwara vego adhika trishna pralapaha shvasanam brahmaha mala pravritti utkleshaha pachamanasya lakshanam. But whenever it's in the pachamana, it's the next stage of jwara, there is adhika trishna, adhika vega of the jwara, especially now the what you can call the mind is also afflicted here more. So that's why pralapa, shvasana, brahma. So the person will be having more of its kind of the symptoms, and he will be having more discomforts. That is called as the pachamana lakshana. And once there is a dosha paka, then we can see the nirama jwara lakshana like chut kshamata, lagutvam cha radharanam, jwara mardhavam, dosha pravritti rashtaho, nirama jwara lakshanam. So by the the self-limiting jwara, by the end of its the 8th day, there will be jwara mardhavata you can see by all the signs and symptoms, and the body will be having lagutva in the gatra as well as jwara mardhavata. All the signs and symptoms will be getting relieved. And coming to the next important aspect of this particular jwara is the principles of management of jwara. So from here onwards, this is more important to know how we are going to treat the different kinds of jwara. So in the Nidana Sthana itself, while telling about the Nidana Samprapti itself, the principles has been mentioned as a just before telling in the Chikitsa Sthana itself, the Charaka will be explaining the treatment principle in the Nidana Sthana itself. To just have a its importance here. Tatra purva rupa darshane jwarado va hitam lagvashanam apatarpanam va jwarasya amashaya samuttatvat. So here we have seen the different types of fever. It's dosha avastha, it's dhatugata avastha, the samprapti. So especially as we know, the jwara is having its origin from the amashaya as well as the rasavaha shroto involvement. So because of all these things, whenever we call it as the jwara as the rasavaha shroto, the lakshana, but we can, the first line of treatment will be always apatarpana. So apatarpana may be in the form of langhana, that means complete abstinence of food depending upon the condition, or it may be lagvashana, or complete abstinence of the food also maybe to some duration, the particular duration, and after that maybe with the lagvashana. So that's why tatra purva rupa darshane jwarado, we have seen the purva rupa. So there itself, when the person is having the discomfort in the manas as well as the sharira itself, we can understand, or even the patient itself tell, I'm not distaste towards the intake of food. That is the nature of the body. That means the body itself tells us you have to take little food. So that's something wrong with your agni, or something wrong with your body. So kindly take very light food, or you don't take food at present. So like that is the nature of the body. So it will be understanding its condition, and it will tell you indirectly by having this distaste, tandrata or archi, asya vairasya, etc. Okay, so that is the first line of treatment will be hitam laguvashanam apatarpanam. Okay, and next is telling the different line of treatment like kashaya pana, abhyanga, sneha, sweda, pradeha, parisheka, anulepana, vamana, virechana, astapana, anuvasana, all these things, the nasta karma, dhupana, dhumapana, anjana, kshira, prayoga or bhojana vidhi, everything yatasam yuktya prayojyam. So these are all the different kinds of principles which is going to be explained in the Chikitsa Sthana. That is according to the avastha, one should understand when to give, what to give, and how much to give, everything. And coming to so here whenever we talk about jwara, as we are seeing the different kind of jwara and how the dosha paka happens by 7 days, etc. So it is very important to know that there are two aspects, that is the taruna jwara as well as the jirana jwara. So once we there are some variant of opinion, like the taruna jwara is always we call it as up to 7 days, or the 8th day onwards we call it as, or the after 8 days, we will not consider it as Karuna Jwara. So up to 7 days or the Saptahad or Ashtahad, it is the mentioning that the Jwara will be Karuna Jwara, and after that it will become Jirana Jwara. But according to Shushruta, he gives a gap of 8th, 9th day also up to 10th day. He call it as like the latent period, and he's mentioning that it is a Taruna Jwara, and later after 10 days it will become Jirana Jwara. So whenever we call it as Navajwara, we should understand that that is the first 7 days or 8 days after after happening the Jwara. So in case of Navajwara, there are something contraindicated or Varjya. So it is mentioned that Navajware, Divaswapna, Snana Abhyanga, Maithuna, and Koda, Pata, Vyayama, Pravata, Vyavaya, and Kashayamsha Vivarjayet. So all these things I will be going to explain in detail in a further in continuation with this presentation. So Divaswapna, as we know, because it is a Rasavaha Shroto Dushti, whereas so once again, if you sleep in the daytime, once again there is a Kapha dosha, Utklesha, or the Kapha dosha Prakopa will be there. Once again, it will be leading to the excess, or the fever will be increased. Even Abhyanga, Snana, Maithuna, all these things, the different kinds of acts from our body, which will be leading to the what you can call the strain, will be causing our body, and whatever we are taking, which also will be hampering the digestive system. That's why all these things are specifically mentioned, that you should not strain your body as well as your digestive system. These two things are very much important in case of Navajwara. And the as we know, the first line of treatment of Navajwara is Langhana. So there are certain indications and contraindications for Langhana. So to whom we have to apply this particular treatment principle of Langhana, to whom it is contraindicated, or how much it is indicated. So whenever we talk about Langhana, we always think that Langhana means it is abstinence of food, but it is not like that. So there is certain principles we have to follow when we advise this Langhana line of treatment. So Jware Langhana Mevado Upadishtamamrute Jwarat Kshaya Anila Vaya Koda Kama Shoka Shramodbhavat. So that means he is telling here Kshaya Anila. So that means the Langhana is, even though Langhana is prescribed in the initial stage of Jwara, but there are some exceptions, like whenever there is a Vata predominant Jwara, Kshaya Anila, so and Bhaya Krodha, whenever the person is having Vata predominant or the Vata dominant Jwara, or even there is a Jwara because of the Bhaya, or maybe because of Krodha, or because of Kama, Shoka, or because of Shrama. In all these conditions, there will be excessive Vata Prakopa. In such conditions, one should not go for a Jwara. As we have seen already, the different types of Jwara, we know the different Agantuja type of Jwara. Once again, there will be Vata Prakopa. So in such condition, we may not advise the Langhana as the first line of treatment. So that is the reason why I have just given the gist of the different types of fever and its the different manifestations. Okay. And here some of the benefits. So what is the real benefits of the Langhana when it's indicated? So Langhanena kshayam nite doshe sandukshite anile vijwaratam lagutvam cha kshutchaiva asyopajayate. If really the Jwara is kapha pradhana, or if it is because of the mithya ahara vihara, and in such condition, and if the patient's bala is good, in such condition, when you advise Langhana, what happens means kshayam nite doshe sandukshite anila. So that means it will stimulate the agni, as the result of which there are subsides and the body is light, and the person's appetite also will be restored. So what happens here? So and how much you have to advise the Langhana means he is telling very clearly pranavirodhina chainam Langhanena upapadayit. So one should not advise Langhana to pranavirodhina. That means always we know the Vyayama or whatever, when they mention Acharyas, they will tell, so it should be to according to our own Shakti, or when they mention Vyayama, they tell Ardha Shaktiya. So similarly, Langana is also according to the bala of the patient. So whenever, even though it is a treatment line in case of Jwara, so it should not be too much. Whenever we advise, Langana, if they go for further, what will happen? It will be, increase further Vata Prakopa will be causing. And the next line it is telling Baladishtanam Arogyam Yadartho Ayam Kriyakramaha. So always the Baladishtanam Arogyam, the strength of the body is always, it is remaining upon the Arogya. And similarly, 1 minute. You can just continue. So here what happens to regain the health, which is also depends upon the physical, mental and spiritual strength. One should, we also always, it is Baladishtanam Arogyam. So that means for our strength, the Arogya or for our health, always our the Bala or the is the Adhishtana. So always you have to see the strength of the patient, and accordingly you have to advise this particular Langana. And in case of Navajwara, always the first line of treatment, or in case of the total line of treatment for the Navajwara is Langana, Svedana, Kala, Yavaku Stiktako Rasaha, Pachanani Avipakwanam, Doshanam, Karanajware. That means here this is the treatment principle which has been mentioned in case of Navajwara. As I told, Navajwara we consider that is up to 7 days or 8 days here. Okay. So Kala iti ashtahaha, especially according to the context here, the Charaka in this commentary he is mentioning, Chakrapani commentary, Kala, one should understand this ashtaha. That means up to 7 days we will be giving the treatment, and after by 8th days we consider it as the the Jwara, now it is relieved, or it is self-limiting, means it will be relieved or by the Ahara Vihara, and by 8th day onward we can give the normal type of diet. So that's why Ashtaha, from the 8th day onwards we can consider it as a normal. So as a first line of treatment, as we have seen, Langhana. So the thing is, either you are giving a complete absence of food or abstinence of food according to the bala of the patient, or it may be the Lagu Anna, here it is mentioned. And when Langana should be given, to whom it is indicated, we have seen also whom it is contraindicated. And similarly, the benefits of the Langana we have seen. And coming to the next one is the Svedana. Svedana means it is in the form of, again, maybe taking by a Ushna Jala. Okay. So here, specifically he is mentioning here, the Ushna Jala Mahatva here. Trishyate Salilam cha Ushnam, Dadyat Vata Kafe Jure, Madhyote Paitike Chata, Sheetalam Tiktatehi Shrutam, Deepanam Pachanam Chaiva, Jwaragna Mubhayam Hitat, Shrotasam Shodhanam Balyam, Ruchi Svedakaram Shivam. So here what happens means, the simple Ushna Jala also will act as a Jwarahara, because this Ushna Jala, when the person is taking, those who are having fever, so it will act as a Amapachana, or the whatever the Ama is there, it will be relieved. And it will also act as a Shoto Shodaka. So in that manner, and it will, origin or it will also produce some amount of it will be like a Sveda Karaka. So Swalilam cha Ushnam Dadyat Vata Kapha Jure. So both in case of Vata Kapha Jwara in this particular combination, because for Vata also it is good, and for the Kapha also the Ushna Jala is equally holds good. And Madhyote Paitike Chata Sheetalam Tikta Kai Shrutam. So but in case of Madhyota and Paitika Jwara, so what you have to do, if you cannot give the Ushna Jala directly, what you have to do, something like a Tikta drug you can add to the Ushna to the Jala, and then boil it and then give. So that will be helpful for this particular condition. It will act as a Deepana, Pachana and a Jwaragna, and as well as Shroto Shodhana, Balya and Ruchi Svedakaram Shivam. So this is very, very important in case of Ushna Jala. And even some example like the Shadanga Paniya, Musta Parpataka, Ushira, Chandana Udicha Nagarahi, Shruta Sheetam Jalam Dadyat, Pipasa Jwara Shanti. So he's telling here Shrutashitam Jalam Dadya. So even in case of Paitika and Madhyutta Jwara also you can, this particular Shadangapanya will be indicated. So Langana, Svedana, even externally when we doing the Guru Pravarana is been mentioned. So wherein when the person who is having the Jwara, when they completely cover it with the blanket also, it will cause the Svedana. So externally as well as internally in the form of Ushna Jwala or even Shadanga Panya, etc., it will act as a Svedana. So this is Langana, Svedana and Kala. He's telling here Kala iti Ashtahaha. Okay. So 8 days is considered as the, up to 8 days it is considered, Jwara is considered as the Tarana Jwara. And Yavagu Stiktako Rasaha. So here he's telling by doing all this at the same time, you can give some of the Yavagu preparation. So what type of diet we have to give in this particular days? Only tell and Lagu Ahara. What Lagu Ahara you are going to give, that I am going to explain later. So something like a Yavagu preparations with a Tikta drug addition can be given to the patient, or it may be like a Yusha or Rasa preparation to the patient who are habituated to that. And all these things, Pachanani, Avipakwana, Doshanam, Tarunajure. So these are all the things we are doing for the Avipakwa dosha to become Pachana. So after 7 days, when we will be knowing whether the Jwara is getting relieved or not. If the Jwara has attained the Paripakwa Vasta, then our treatment will be something like a Shamana, or it will be again still the Jwara is continuing, then you have to give something like a Pachana Kashaya. Okay, so that I will tell you in the later content. So here he is telling Swatantra Beshaja Prayoge Tarune Nishidha Eva Uktam hi Beshajam hi Amadoshasya Bhoyo Jwalayati Jwaram. So why in this particular condition, in the first 7 days of Jwara, why the Beshaja Nishidha he is mentioning? Because already there is Agni Mandya, but when you give this particular, if you want to give any medications here, especially some of the Kashaya Rasa drugs, so that will cause the Agni Mandya further. So always you should understand that in a Taruna Jwara, there will be Agni Mandya. So our aim is towards improve the Agni. By improving the Agni by different kinds of Langana, Svedana, or even the Yavagu preparations, or even some of the Pachana type of drugs additionally giving to the some type of the different food, then we have to see always the improvement of Agni here. So if at all we give any of the Beshaja, what happens? Beshajam hi Amadoshasya Bhuyo Jwalayati Jwaram. Already there is Amadosha, and when you add a drug, instead of getting relieving the Jwara, it will be again like a Jwalana to the Jwara. He is telling like that. Okay. So next, already we have seen what is the Ushna Jala Mahatva, and the next thing is Vamana in Jwara. So when Vamana is indicated, so one thing we have to understand, whenever the person is having Jwara, we have seen the signs and symptoms. Whenever the Amaja Jwara is there, there will be Hillasa or something like a Tandra, or what you can call the Lala Rasa Srava, or the heaviness of the chest, etc. So by that we have to understand that there is a Kapha Pradhana Jwara, or it may be because of Utklishta doshas are there in the Urdhva Amashya itself. So in such condition, the doshas are ready to come out. In such condition, we have to just support. So that's why the Vamana in Jwara has been mentioned here. So Vamana, whenever we tell Vamana, it is just a Sadhyo Vamana. It is not that the classical Vamana where we give the Snehana, Svedana, etc. So the Purva Karma is not required here. So already here the doshas are ready to come out. So that's why he is telling Kapha Pradhanan Utklishtan Doshanam Amashayasyitan Budva Jwarakaran Kale Vamyanam Vamaner Haret. That means here the Kapha Pradhana Jwara as well as Utklishta doshas are there, and dosha Amashayasyitan. So already, especially Amashayasyitan means in the Urdhva Amashaya. In such condition, Budva Jwarakaran Kale Vamyanam Vamaner Haret. That means in the proper kala, that is in the early morning. If it is the person is having indicated for jwara, that is also very, very important. Vamyanam vamanir haret, in a particular season, and all these things are seen. In such condition, if the patient is able to, or he is yogya for vamana, in such condition you can go for a directly vamana. So here the kafa pradana nityadi kafaha pradano yesham te kafa pradanaha, that is utklishaniti hrillasadi bahirgamana unmukhan, that is when the person, when he complains that hrillas or lalas rava, that is like an nauseating type of feeling, that indicates that that is kapha pradhanata and the doshas are ready to come out from the channels or the shrodasas. So that is just we have to just support with that. And what are the medicines we are going to use in this particular condition, we are going to discuss later. And amashya sthitan ityanena sarva shariram parityajya amashya gamanam darshayati. So that means here the whatever the jwara which is spread all over the body now has come to the amashya, and now it is ready to come out. So these are the specific conditions where one can indicate with the vamana. And अत्र च स्वयं उत्क्लिष्ट दोषस्य दोषोत्क्लेश प्रयोजनको स्नेहस्येदो न क्रियते अल्पो वा क्रियते. So what he is mentioning very clearly is it is not the classical vamana mentioned here. Is no need of snehana, svedana, etc. here. So directly you can go for a sadhyo vamana by using specific drugs which will be discussing in the later part of the presentation. So here one thing what we have seen is langhana, as a karuna jwara, langhanam svedanam kalo. So here the langhana having its another part is either langhana or vamana. If doshas are alpa, then you can go for langhana. If doshas are bahu dosha avastha, kafa pradana avastha, utklishta dosha and urdu amashya sthita dosha, then you can go for a vamana here. So this part is very important, langhana. So either langhana or vamana. So if it is alpa dosha, you go for a langhana, or if it is bahu dosha avastha and the doshas are ready to come out, then you can go for the vamana. And once again, after vamana, still there is a remnant of doshas. Then in such condition, once again you go for a short duration of langhana. Okay, so in this langhana means you have a lot of things to remember. One is in case of alpa dosha, first you are going to do langhana. If it are bahu dosha, you are going to do, in case of yogya person, you are going to do the vamana, and for the remnant dosha, still little more langhana, and then go with the other type of the treatments. Okay, so that is the one thing. And if at all the condition is not hold good for vamana, but still if you go for vamana, what happens? What are the adverse effect of vamana if the condition is not favorable? Anupasthita doshanam. He is very clearly, he has mentioned here that upasthita doshanam, isn't it? Amashya sthitani ityanena sarva shariram parityajya amashya gamanam dashyati. So whenever the doshas are in sarva shariram parityajya, so which is the total vitiated doshas which was spread throughout the body, now has it has left the shrotas and it is now come to the amashya to go out or ready to eliminate. In such condition only we have to give the vamana. Other than that, if you give anupasthita doshanam, if the doshas are there still in the sarva deha, and when you are doing vamana, what happens in case of karuna jwara? There will be symptoms like, or there will be production of, or the manifestation of the diseases like hridroga, shwasa, anaha, moha, all these things, which will immediately there will be manifestation of all these conditions. And sarva dehanugaha sama dhatustaha asunirharaha doshaha falanamanam swa rasaiva satyayaha. So if at all forcefully you are going to eliminate the doshas from the body without getting its pakvavastha, what happens means he is telling, in amafala you are going to squeeze for its rasa, the total fruits will be destroyed and you are not going to get any proper rasa, whatever the quantity, you are not going to get it. So similarly, when the doshas are there in a whole over the body, then in such condition you are not going to do the elimination therapy. If at all you do that, you are going to destroy the whole body. Okay, so here he is telling vamitam langitam kale yavagubir upacharit. So next he is telling the yavagupana in Jwara. What is its importance? I think we can stop here and continue with the next session.